Welcome back again, folks. Great to feel your presence and to be here with you. And this is WeAwake, and it's where we get together. And this is the people you see here on the screen are part of our WeAwake team, the brilliant, good-hearted, loving people that bring you iWake. So we've been working on profound meditation 3.0 for a while now, because I think there's like 17. Is that right? 17 tracks altogether. Maybe it's 19. Hopefully it's 17. I think I should know, right? But anyway, so today we're doing the third track in the Epsilon tier. Okay, so we started out in Delta and we went through Delta. Then we did the releasing tracks, were Alpha Theta-ish. And now last week we did two together. We did Epsilon 1 and 2 in a 40-minute thing, and it was, wow, very powerful. More is more with this stuff, by the way. But today you're all getting a break, and it's only going to be 20 minutes. So this is, again, is Epsilon, and Epsilon is a brainwave wave that is really low and slow, and it's below Delta, which used to be for years about as deep as it would, or as slow as it would get. So this is a really powerful inducing brainwave for deep meditation. And yeah, then after that we have three more, I think, gamma, hypergamma. And anyway, those are three more after this. So then we'll be through and we'll be open to the rest of the iAwake universe to explore and to meditate together. So without further ado, let us get this thing rolling. See you on the other side. God bless. Go deep. Welcome everybody. Welcome for being here with us and for our excursion into Epsilon. Epsilon, uh, the third one in the third Epsilon track in the Profound Meditation 3.0. And, it's when using this technology as a part of a spiritual practice or part of really any practice, one of the things that you might notice is that when you use these things, you can think really well. It's like a thinking cap. Your brain starts firing and you start putting things together. And I'm speaking from personal experience. We don't talk about that too much, but there is a time and place for just thinking. All right. This big noggin that sits on our shoulders is quite an amazing thing. And we're just learning more and more about it in the last 20 or 30 years. It's been an absolute revolution in understanding the brain, and it's still largely a mystery. But yeah, it really does bring a lot of thoughts together and allows you to think in a linear fashion and process stuff. So there might be times when you just want to use it instead of beating yourself up for thinking, go, well, this is just a thinking session and I'm going to think, or I'm going to think for 15 minutes and then I'm going to stop. So that can be a blessing. And of course it can be a problem if you're trying to stop thinking or still your thoughts, because, hey, they're really some good thoughts. You don't want to miss this. It's really unfolding in a very interesting way. So, but I have found over the years that I can do both and think for a while. And sometimes I just allow myself to think some of the thoughts that need thinking. So they just get out of the way, and doing that for a few minutes. And then I'll go into the meditation, which is stillness. And I sat on a panel the other day for Meridian University, and the subject of the panel was wisdom. Really interesting, interesting idea there. And wisdom's just, I don't know, it's what is wisdom? But it must be important because all the great traditions have been talking about it. Our ancestors have been talking about it for thousands of years. So it's a big deal. In the Bible, of course, you have the book of wisdom, which is Proverbs, and then you had Ecclesiastes, which was allegedly written by Solomon, and any other wisdom. Like Job is probably part of the wisdom literature. So the question came up of what is wisdom, and it's like there's the old kind of cliched response of a Supreme Court justice when they were asking about pornography. And they said, well, what is pornography? We're going to outlaw it, right? We're going to make laws to control it. He says, well, I don't know what it is, but I know it when I see it. Okay. And that's kind of wisdom. And there's a verse in Ecclesiastes where it says, great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment, but there's a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. So there's this part of us, according to the author of that book, that is sparked, that is enlightened by the divine. So, and I was looking over some of this stuff when I was preparing for the panel, and I think it's in 1 Corinthians 12, maybe 2 Corinthians, but I think it's first, where Paul was talking about different gifts of the Spirit, or alleged Paul, whoever wrote the book. There's some controversy there, but let's just say Paul for the sake of this. And he mentioned there is healing, there's interpretation of tongues, there's the word of knowledge, and the word of wisdom, among other things. But it's interesting how and I do this in my own head, but he differentiates knowledge from wisdom. So you could have a professor or an intellectual who's extremely knowledgeable and knows a lot about whatever their subject, and it's just amazing how they pull it all together. But it's not wisdom, it's just knowledge. And there's nothing wrong with knowledge. It's a really good thing. It's good to know. because the more we know, hopefully, if we can blend that with our wisdom, we won't get sucked into every stupid thing that emerges on the internet. Whenever it emerges, we have a way of kind of, oh, that's another one of the spiritual gifts, is discernment. Okay, being able to say, this is BS, this is good, this guy is sincere, he's a con artist, blah. So discernment is part of that too. But there's a real difference between wisdom and just knowledge. And I think Paul was going that not everybody has everything. We don't all have the gift. Some of us have a gift of wisdom, and seemingly, and maybe not, or maybe we do. But I do think there is a place in our depths that we reach the place where there is wisdom. And it seems to be that place down in that area that I associate with the soul. In other words, the deepest part of the individual self. And one time I was at a conference, an integral conference, and my friend Roger Walsh was giving a talk, and he had us go in and visualize sage, however it appeared to us. There's an old Merlin figure or a throne or whoever, or a bear or whatever it was. And then we had a conversation with this being, and said, now go inside and imagine that it is you. So that sage that we have inside us is just a part of ourselves. Okay. And that part, I think, can be cultivated. I think it's really important. Another thing I said during the panel was that for me at this point in my spiritual life and in my practice, that meditation is a preparation for prayer. And what, might you ask, is prayer? Well, prayer is just a seeking, an emptying, a willingness to be in touch with the divine, the sacred, higher power, God, spirit, however you want to say that, Wakan Tanka, as the Lakota said. And when we get through, these different layers of our psyche, maybe the first layer is the thinking hat, right? Where we think our thoughts and, oh, this is what I need to do tomorrow. And I remember blah, blah, blah. Oh, and the part I'm writing on the book, bam, yeah, I have to include that, however that is. And then we still our minds. And then in the stillness, and it's different from quietness, but just the stillness where the thoughts have ceased to do their thinking. And thinking becomes a choice. You can think if you want to, but if you don't want to, it's okay. So the thoughts kind of move away peripherally, and there you are. And at that place, it's a very sacred place, a very special place. And just to achieve that, in our meditation for the first time is a big deal. And then, of course, you go, oh, I'm not thinking. You're thinking. And so it kind of blows it. But anyway, I think after a while, oh, I'm thinking, thank you for sharing, and just go back to the stillness. But in that place, we can actually ask the questions of spirit, and there seems to be a connection, a second person connection with spirit or God. And that second person is you talking to another, like, hey, God, how you doing? Or, hey, God, this is to me again. Just checking in. Anything I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing? By the way, I got these issues, and if you could help me heal them, that would be really good, or show me how I'm supposed to deal with this stuff. And you can kind of hang out with that. And when the learning or the teaching emerges, it's not like, Charlton Heston's voice on, with a lot of reverb, John. No, it's that intuitive kind of knowing, but it is also very distinct. So cultivating that relationship with the sage within, with the wisdom voice, I think I've heard the Buddhists call it before, is, I think, a very important part of our spiritual development. And once we kind of realize that, and we achieve that, it kind of gives you a whole different hit on how the universe might be hardwired at the deepest level. If we have wisdom within us. And again, what is wisdom? Well, to me, wisdom seems to be a mimetic artifact or thing that seems to penetrate us with transcendent knowledge and seems to kick us into a higher state of being. Get still and read Rumi. He's one of my favorite poets. And here's a bit of wisdom from Rumi that I've been chewing on for years. And he said, I sought to find God and found only myself. I sought to find myself and found only God. That's a good place to stop. Thank you.